children. Today I am going to explain you how to do the exercise number 2 in bank reconciliation statement. So I kindly ask you, my children, pay your whole concentration to this video and try to understand it. So get ready to go into the video. Right. Exercise number 2 asking 6 questions. First question is prepare the bank account in cash book. So this is maintained by the organization. Question number 2, prepare the business bank account in banker's book. So it says banker's book. So this is maintained by the bank. Right. Now when you doing this second question, you assume you are the bank and do this account from the side of the bank. So first we shall do this 2, then we shall do the other 3rd, 4th and 5th and 6th question. Right. Now following transactions are given to you. 2016 April 1, balance as per cash book 320,000. So you have to put this balance in the cash book. So see the cash book, this is cash book. Here 1st April, not the January, this is April. So April, right, 1st April balance 320,000 and same balance was shown in the banker's book also, right? So the same balance 320,000 shown in the bank maintaining customers ledger also. Here this is customers ledger, this is maintained by the bank. So here also the date is April, so change it, date is April, right? 1st April balance brought forward is 320,000, right? Here you can see the balance is in the credit side because this is maintained by the bank, no? So bank has to give it to customer. This is customer's money in the bank, no? So this is liability to bank. So that's why that is in the credit side. So this here the balance is in the debit side. That means this much of cash is in the bank. So that is one of asset to the organization. So that's why that is in debit side, right? Now shall continue. Date is 6. A check issued to a creditor Mr. Nilam for 32,000, right? Date is 6. So on 6, see, on 6 a check is issued to Nilam. So put the name Nilam and the amount is 32,000, right? And say this check was presented to bank on 10th April. The check is issued on 6, but this check was presented to the bank by Nilam on 10th. So a bank would have issued money on 10th. See the here customers account on 10th April. The check number and the amount is 32,000 would have issued by the bank. So here cash balance in the bank is 320,000 is there. Now from this 320,000, 32,000 is released or issued for the check given by the customer. Right. Next date is 10. Bank paid for a standing order of insurance 2,500. Right. This organization has given a standing order to bank. So you know that standing order mean we can give some orders to bank to pay any amount on behalf of the organization's name. So the insurance is now you can see on 10th bank has paid the insurance 2,500 on behalf of the organization name. So from the balance 2,000 is now deducted. 2,500 is deducted because bank has paid it. But this standing order payment paid is not known to organization until the organization receive the bank statement from the bank. Although the organization already requested to the bank to pay it, bank does not know until receive the bank statement. Right. So the organization wouldn't have recorded it in the credit side because still the organization does not know whether bank paid it or not. Right. Next 14th a check issued for salary 5,500 was presented to the bank on 15th April. Right. So a check issued for 5,500 in the cash book here on 14th for salary. The check issued amount is 5,500, but it was presented to the bank on 15th. So on 15th, check number and the amount paid is by the bank 5,500. Right. Next date is 17th. Cash deposited to bank 12,000. So cash deposited would be recorded in the debit side here on 17th. Cash, how much deposited? 12,000. And this 12,000 would have recorded by the bank also. Here that deposited money would have received by the bank on the same day 17th. Bank would have write it as cash. How much? Received 12,000. Right. Next date is 18. A check 28,000 received from Mr. Fahim and deposited to bank. Right. So on 18th here a check is received from Fahim 28,000. A check received from Fahim 28,000 is debited. Right. And that 18,000 we deposited here. We deposited in the bank. Not 18,000, 28,000. It was realized on 20th April. So if you see the customer's account that maintained by the bank, it was here that is realized on 20th. Check number and amount is 28,000. Right. Then date is 20. Dividend collected by bank on behalf of business 6,200. So dividend collected would have recorded by the bank. So on 20th, dividend 6,200 would have credited, but it won't be in the cash book because the organization does not know the dividend received matter. The organization will get known it after receiving the bank statement. So until that, the organization wouldn't have record that in the cash book. Right. Next date is 24th. Following checks were deposited to bank and did not realized until 30th April. So the business has deposited two checks. Kala's check, Kala was given 14,500. Ramalan's check 13,500. So these two checks were deposited by the organization on 24th. So see in the cash book on 24th, Kala's check 14,500 and on 24th Ramalan given check 13,500 were debited. Right. But these two check wouldn't have to be shown in the customer's account that is maintained by the banker because it says that two checks were unrealized until the end of the month. Right. So we can't see that in the customer's account that maintained by the bank. Right. And then date is 27. Bank has credited 4,000 as rent incorrectly. So this is bankers wrong. Bank mistakenly or erroneously amount of 4,000 have been credited by the bank as rent. Actually, there is no such a rent to receive by this organization. This is a mistaken erroneous error that done by the bank. So definitely this 4,000 wouldn't have debit by the organization. You see here in organization's cash book, you can't see that 4,000. So that is one of error record by the bank. Right. Next date is 28. Following checks were issued but not presented until 30th April. Uma 12,900 to Kader 22,500. So two checks have been issued, one for Uma and another check for Kader. So that would be recorded by the organization on 20th to Uma 12,900 on 28th, to Kader 22,500. But you can't see these two checks in the debit side of the customer's account that is maintained by the bank, because it's the question says that two checks did not presented until the April end. Until the end of the April, those two checks were not presented. So we can't see that in the debit side of the customer's account that is maintained by the bank. Right. So next 29, bank charged 200 as bank charge. So the bank charge would be debited by the bank on 29th. Bank charge 200 is debited, right? But you can't see this 200 in the cash book because the organization does not know that how much bank charge as bank charge until the organization receive the bank statement, right? So now until 29th, this much of transactions have occurred. So these transactions now recorded by us here, all the transactions we recorded in the cash book. Now at the end of the month, this should be April, next April, May. So it should be not second month, May is 5th month, right. So in May 1st we have to find out the balance. So in April, this much of amounts we deposited. In April, this much of amounts we deposited. So get the total. So 388,000 balance would be in the debit side, and from this deposit this much of amounts here we gave. So carried down balance would be carried down balance would be 315,100 when on 31st April. So then 1st of May this balance brought forward 315,100, right? And if you get the total in the customer's account that maintained by the bank, this is opening balance, and then these amounts were deposited. But this is a error entry by the bank. So however, this much of amounts were credited by the bank, so total 370,200, and according to the bank this much of amounts were debited. So carried down balance is 330,000. So 330,000, right? Now if you check this both balances according to the banker's account, the brought forward balance is 330,000, but according to the organization's account, the brought forward balance is 315,100. So these two balances are not mismatch, these are, right? So what is the reason for not tallying these two balances? What is the reason, right? So the third question asking here third question asking prepare the bank statement. So before prepare the bank statement, list the reasons for the differences between the balance as per cash book and the balance as per bank statement. So the question number 3 should be this. The fourth question should be this: prepare the bank statement. So the question number 3 is this. So we have to list out the reasons for not balancing this two balances. This here 330,000 according to the customer's account that maintained by the bank. Here according to the organization's account, the balance is 315,100. So these both balances not tallying. So we have to find out the reasons for not tallying to these two balances, right? So how will you find out the reasons? So you have to one by one tick and find out, right? Shall tick here 320,000 debit, and check the banker's account, the same amount is there, so that is okay, right? Now in the banker's account there is a 12,000 in the credit side. Check that is that amount is in the cash book also in the debit side. Yes, so we can tick these two amount, 12,000, and in the banker's book 12,000 in the credit side, right? Okay, and then check the cash book. A check received from Fahim is debited 28,000. Whether that amount is there in the banker's book, yes, that 28,000 is there in the credit side, so you can tick this 28,000 and debit here 28,000, right? Then see two checks, one is received from Kala, deposited, and another check received from Ramalan, deposited, debited. See, is there these two checks in the banker's account book? No, here no. So these two are differences. So for the Kala's and Ramalan's checks were deposited, but that two checks is not appearing in the banker's account. So these are one difference. So you have to write these two checks are unrealized check. So list out that list out that differences between cash book and bank statement. Unrealized check 14,500 and 13,500, right? Next, all the debit side of the cash book is now we checked with the credit side of the customer's account that maintained by the bank, and another two amounts are there in the credit side of the banker's account, but these two amounts are not in the cash book debit side. So what is that? On 20th the bank has received dividend 6,200. So this dividend received is not known to the organization, so this also a difference. So that should be recorded. Dividend received 6,200, right? And then check that another amount, rent received 4,000. Actually rent of 4,000 not receivable to the organization, but bank has credited in the customer's account. So this is one of wrong of the bank. So this also a difference. So write that here banker's error of rent received 4,000. So that is also a difference, right? And now see the right bank accounts or bank maintaining accounts credit side, two difference we find out that. Now we shall check the cash book credit side with the banker's account debit side, right? One by one. One check is issued to Nilam 32,000. Now check whether this 32,000 credited by the organization is debited by the bank. Yes, debited here. check number and amount is 32,000 is debited, so we can tick this. Okay, and here we can tick this. Okay, right. Then salary, for salary 5,500 issued, credited, and check whether here debited or not. Yes, debited. Okay, so you can tick this and tick with this 5,500. Okay, right. Then a check has issued to Uma 12,900. Check whether is there. Check issued to Uma is not here. So this is a check issued but not presented yet. So unpresented check. So it should be a difference. Unpresented check. Here unpresented check 12,900. Uma's check given to Uma. And another check here given to Kader 22,500. That also we can't find here, so that also a difference. So that is 22,500 unpresented check. Right. Now okay, now the credit side there are two amounts that is not in the banker's account. So these are these two differences now we find out. And we check all the credit entry in the cash book, but if you see the banker's account, another two amounts are there that is not in the cash book. So that is, one is bank charge, so that also a difference. So bank charge should be written under the differences, bank charge 200. Right. And another amount is no, that's all, bank charge. Right. Now we find out how many differences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 differences we find out. Right. Now in these 6 differences we have to understand which differences is the error of the organization. Error of the organization. Here we'll see dividend received by the bank. Dividend received by the bank is recorded by the bank. So that is correct. But that dividend received is not recorded by organization. So that is whose error? Because organization should have recorded that dividend received, but still the organization not recorded that, because organization does not know about that dividend received until the statement is received. Until the statements receiving, the organization does not know about it. That's why the organization has not recorded it in the cash book. So now we have to assume that one of error of the organization, that not recording it. So we have to record that in the adjusted cash book. Right. So you take the adjusted cash book here. In the adjusted cash book, first you write the balance, and then the dividend received bank has recorded, but the business has not recorded, no, so business has to record it here in the adjusted cash book. The amount that received by the bank, that is already recorded by the bank but not recorded by the organization business, so business has to record it in the adjusted cash book, right? The next the difference is see this bank charge of 200. This is bank charge. So bank charge charged by the bank is correct. So bank charged. So that is one of correct action done by the bank. But we haven't credit that in our cash book. Although bank charge it, we haven't credit it. So that is one of business error, because the bank charge charged by the bank is a correct action, but business has not recorded it in the cash book because business does not know about it until the statement is receiving. Business does not know about it, so business now should write it in the adjusted cash book. So the bank charge should be deducted from the cash balance by crediting 200. Business has to adjust it in the adjusted cash book, right? Then another difference is standing order insurance 2500. When the bank paid the standing order payment, correctly bank recorded it here. Standing order payment is here correctly recorded by the bank, so that is correct action. But organization, the business has not recorded that the amount paid by the bank as standing order is not recorded in the cash book of the business, so that is wrong. So business also should write it, so it should be corrected in the adjusted bank account. The standing order insurance should be deducted, right? And I think that's all the differences that is that should be corrected by the business. That means the errors of the business. So the bank dividend received not recorded is one of error of the business. Bank here the bank charge of 200 not recorded is business error, and standing order insurance payment not recorded in the cash book is business error, business's error. So now we corrected that. And this unrealized check, now unrealized check, unpresented check, and banker's error, these are not business error, business's error, not business error. It is error of the bank, so it should not be adjusted in the adjusted cash book, because check issued but unpresented is not an error of the business. When check is issued, it is recorded by the business here. When check is issued, it is recorded. So that is correctly recorded. So business need not to correct it. Although these two checks were not presented still, the business need not to correct, because business on 28th business paid that, issued the check, so business credited, so that this action is correct. So but it is not debited by the bank. Actually bank not debited this is also not a banker's error, but for the moment we have to assume that this is this should be adjusted by the bank, because in 1 or 2 days bank also have to pay money for that checks. As soon as the checks were presented, bank has to give it. So we can show that in the bank reconciliation statement. Here in the bank reconciliation statement, balance as per statement is 330,000. Adjusted cash book balance is 318,600. So the check issued by the organization is already correctly recorded. So in the cash balance, as that two checks were issued, the cash balance would be less than the bank balance, because bank is not issued money for that two checks still, so bank balance is more. So that two checks issued is not deducted from the bank, so it should be deducted. The unpresented checks should be deducted. Okay, so under the heading deduct, write the unpresented check. If deducted these two checks from the statement balance, it would be equal to the adjusted cash book balance, because already the cash book balance already removed, that means deducted that two checks when issuing the check. Right. Next, unrealized check. There are here unrealized check. Here two checks, unrealized check, 14,500 and 13,500. Right. This unrealized check, that means the check deposited by the organization. So here amount is more. But here in the statement, as it is not realized yet, here not included. So in 1 or 2 days that two checks are going to be realized, no? Right. If that check realized, the statement balance should increase, because here in the cash book it is already added, so here more, so here less, so you have to add these two unrealized check to get the cash book balance. Okay, right. Next, an amount of 4,000 is erroneously recorded by the bank as rent received. So this 330,000 include that 4,000 also. So that is wrong. So that should be deducted. Yeah, that should be deducted. 4,000 should be deducted. So if this 4,000 deducted, then the both balance, that means statement balance and cash book balance will get tally, right? So if we prepare this statement and a copy of this statement is sent to the bank, bank will understand that this balance is wrong. These two checks have to be realized. After realize that check, we have the bank should add the 28,000, and two checks unpresented are there. So when presenting that check, it should be deducted, and bank should understand that the bank has erroneously added 4,000. That also should be deducted, right? So if now if one of the copy of this statement is sent to the bank, bank will understand that the bank has done 3 errors, so bank will correct it, right? I think you would have understand that I explained. So I think I can wind up this session now. So better that right. I thankful to you very much, my dear children, for paid your full concentration on this video and try to understand it. If you couldn't understand it at once, please replay it twice or thrice and then do the sum in your exercise book, recalling the knowledge that you got from this video by your own way without seeing my answer. So I will meet you in another video like this. Until that, see you. Goodbye.